Hey guys, I got with the picks. It is Sunday, early morning. yesterday, yesterday we had Navy. Um, and Navy lost in overtime. We took the loss. I was marinating over these last couple of days. The Raiders game, up 16-3 with 3 minutes and 8 seconds to go. Definitely on the right side, handicapped to a T, and we take the loss. And I don't justify or rationalize anything, and I don't make excuses for my losses, but I do like to speak facts. The next day I gave out 2 FCS games, and I should have been another 2-0 day. Sanford couldn't move the ball at all on North Dakota State. Down a ton in the fourth quarter, and somehow it was like a replay of Thursday night's game with that. Few minutes left in the game, and somehow they put up multiple scores to get the back door again. We luckily went 1-1 that day because I did have the over in the Sacramento State and Conte Word game, which hit about 130. And then today in the Navy game, I mean, you realize that, first off, Navy is the least penalized team in college football. 131 college football teams, and they are the least penalized team. Do you know the second to last possession before halftime, they called 3 penalties on Navy? Do you realize that Navy has gone games and games and games this year without even committing a penalty? And how I handicapped the game was, I'm not trying to pat myself, it was beautiful. Army was only behind Air Force and the country in rushing yards per game. They averaged 303 yards a game. And I told you in my I mean, it just kind of blows my mind a little bit. Like, I talked about it when I was breaking down the game, that Army will not be able to run on Navy's defense at all. Now, we didn't burn down the house in the first half with Navy, okay? 120 yards is far from burning down the house, okay? Army had 28 yards and 0 first downs in the first half. And you're telling me a guy comes through the line like Superman, looks like an extra player on the field, lays out, somehow blocks the ball and goes to the, like, listen, I've been doing this for a long time. I know I look young. I've been doing this for a long time. And these type of things happen. But I felt wholeheartedly that we were on the right side on every one of those games. And we came up short on 3 out of 4. Now, think about that. We took 1 win and 3 losses, okay? It took our record to 63, 42, and 3. This is how big of a sample size that we have at this point. Almost 110 games. And we are sitting exactly at 60% win rate. Guys, I got a great one again for us today. One that I'm probably, looking to get some back in a big way. We're looking at the Panthers at 4-8, going to the Seahawks at 7-5. The line right now sits at 4, and the total sits at 44.5. Panthers, they've won 2 out of the last 3. They beat the Falcons and they beat the Broncos last week. And they lost to the Ravens 13-3. But they did some pretty impressive stuff in that game against the Ravens. I don't want to say they completely shut down Lamar Jackson, but they pretty much completely shut down Lamar Jackson. Yeah, Lamar Jackson had 200 yards passing, rushed 11 times for like 29 yards or 31 yards. I think he was at like 2.2 yards a clip. I mean, they held Lamar Jackson to a standard which he has not been held to all year. And it wasn't just by coincidence they did that either. He had 209 yards and an interception in that game. He had 11 carries for 31 yards at 2.8 yards a carry. He did have a rushing touchdown. It's hard to shut down that guy completely, but I tell you what, the Panthers held the Ravens to less than 50 yards than what they normally average total in a game on the year. And that's hard to do against that team. And then they turned around and shut down the Broncos. I mean, yeah, Broncos are one of the worst offenses in football, but they are an NFL football team, and you just wouldn't think like a team like Carolina Panthers. When you hear Carolina Panthers, you think about bottom of the barrel. You really don't look at their team as like too many significant players on the team, especially in skill sets. Probably not too much on defense, just because they're not relevant. But they are. They really are. They held the Broncos to 10 points and 263 total yards. It's pretty impressive. Darnold came back last game. He only threw the ball 19 times. They ran the ball 46 times. This Panther defense, I'll say it, it's borderline elite. Borderline elite defense. Yes, they are. They only give up 359 yards a game. And I expect the same here. Seattle is going to be without Kenneth Walker, obviously. They're also going to be without DJ Dallas. He isn't going to be playing either. So Travis Homer, he's going to be running the ball for Seattle. Now, DK Metcalf does have a questionable tag, and he is leaning towards playing, but he does have a questionable tag. Carolina has given up 15 or fewer points in their last 3 games. And one of Geno Smith's biggest downfalls, he's been sacked 10 times in the last 3 games. And I definitely expect the Panthers to be on Geno a lot in this game, especially with having hurt pieces of the puzzle and major pieces of the puzzle not even there. They're able to focus more on an easier way to stop the team with obviously less talent on the field. And I think Carolina's pretty good at that. I don't even think. They are pretty good at that. The Seahawks were looking good a few games back on the front 7. Their run defense was looking good at a certain point. It's kind of like went by the wayside the last couple weeks because they've been trying to in those games. It really just seems like defense really wasn't the focus. They were just trying to outscore teams. I mean, last week, there's absolutely no reason that the Rams should have ever put up 20-some points and gave Seattle the game that they did. And on top of that, you got a bunch of Akers and forget about it, running backs that put up a bunch of yards last week. I really think Seattle just wasn't focused for the task. They took them not even a little bit, they took them lightly. And it almost bit them in the ass. Luckily for them, it didn't. I see Seattle being really focused in this game, knowing they don't have the personnel on the field that they're used to having. I see their defense stepping up in a huge way, trying to match Carolina's defense. And I see Carolina being a very run-heavy offense. Are they going to get some yards? Yes. I think Seattle's defense will be the bend but don't break. I think they should get it done on the defensive side as well this game. And I know Carolina's going to be able to slow down this Seattle offense. Guys, you already know what the pick is. The pick is take under 44.5 in the Panthers Seahawks game. Guys, I'm also going to put out the late game here. I'll probably put it out around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The Miami Chargers game. And I may even drop a player prop over on TikTok. So if you're not following me on TikTok, go over to TikTok, type in Hat Guy with the Picks, all one word. Hit follow, and you'll get notified every time I drop a video. Guys, I want to thank you for the likes, the comments, subscribes, the shares, the everything. Continue to hit the thumbs up. We've definitely we've been doing a lot better job, and thank you guys so much. You have no idea what that means to me. It makes me dig a little bit more. This short little 1-3 skid, you already know that ain't gonna last. And we're gonna get it back in a nice way right here. Guys, you already know what I'm going to do until I get back to you here later on in the afternoon. We're going to get back to getting this cash.